guys, and welcome back to my channel. This is World Breastfeeding Week, and if you have followed my channel, you know I am a big fan of breastfeeding. When I was pregnant with Caleb, who is my oldest, he just turned 6, I knew that I wanted to breastfeed, but I remember telling my friend, but I'm not married to the idea, so if I decide that I don't like it or if it doesn't work out, it's okay, we'll just do formula. Now I want to make sure that I am getting across that I am pro feed your baby, okay? There is no debate that breast milk is the absolute best food for your baby, but there are certain things that happen and sometimes mothers cannot breastfeed. And in that case, there is donor milk. There, believe it or not, to this day, there is wet nursing, which is when someone else nurses your baby. But there is formula, and I am so incredibly thankful for formula because it is literally life-saving. So I want to make sure that I get that out there before I continue any further. In this video, I wanted to share my breastfeeding experience, kind of the ups, the downs, the highs, and the lows, and where we are today. Last week, I posted Caleb's birth story because he just turned 6 last week, and I will link it up here if you would like to check that out. And of course, I'll also link it down below. But if you saw the video, just a little spoiler alert, he came after days of labor and a C-section where I was under general anesthesia. I was not awake to hear his first cries. He was a good hour plus old before I even got to meet him. And so he didn't nurse right out of the gate like I would have preferred, obviously. But probably about maybe just 15-20 minutes after I woke up, after having a C-section, he had his first nursing session. And of course, this was my first child. I did a lot of research, which is why I wanted to breastfeed. I did a lot of research about how to do it, techniques, accessories, if you will, and I had it all. I was totally ready. And I had some wonderful help from lactation consultants in the hospital. Those women are angels. They are angels. They helped me so much. While I was in the hospital after having him, I used a nipple shield. I used an S&S, which is like to supplement, which is like a little bottle that you like attach to your bra strap or tape to yourself, and then has a little, almost like a catheter that goes down to your breast. So the child can get milk out of your breast, but also through this little tube. And that's the way some people supplement or with formula or breast milk. He came out at 7 pounds 14 ounces, and by the time he left the hospital, he was 7 pounds. And the doctor was, of course, very concerned and immediately said, you need to give him formula. And this devastated me. It really did. And I didn't think it would, but it did. And so I took him home and said, well, you know, I'm just going to keep trying. It's only day like 3 or 4. Milk sometimes doesn't come in immediately. And so took him home, and about 2 weeks later went for a weight check, and he hadn't gained enough by the doctor's standards. And so he suggested that I supplement. Now, by this point, I was kind of starting to recover a little bit more. I was getting the hang of pumping also because I wanted to, you know, up that supply. And things were working a little bit better. But also at the same time, when he would nurse, kind of out of nowhere, it felt like someone was pulling my breast out, pulling it by the nipple, and taking a steak knife and sawing it off. It was horrible, just out of nowhere. I have no idea why it started hurting. Well, I take that back. I didn't have any idea at the time why it hurt so bad. Now that I have gone through all of this myself, I can confidently say that it was probably because he has a tongue tie, and that was never diagnosed. But I started going back to work at about 8 weeks, and I was pumping bottles for him. So my mother-in-law would give him a little formula because she was already feeding him with a breast milk bottle. So she gave him my breast milk, and then she gave him a little bit of formula to top him off, which now I know is not really a good idea. And so that went on. He it got to a point where he just nursed about every 2 to 3 hours. He was great. He was an awesome little eater. The problem was he spit up every single time I fed him. Sometimes it was a little bit. Sometimes it was like, not like projectile across the room, but I mean, he just opened his mouth, a big old smile, he just, you know, no teeth, just gums, and he would just shoot milk out. And it frustrated me so much because all that hard work of either pumping or nursing, and he would spit it up. It drove me crazy. And again, now I know he had a tongue tie, which probably, I don't know, but it probably played a part in all of his spitting up. And also he was gaining weight just very, very slowly. And if you see him now, he's an extremely skinny little guy, even though he eats all the time. I think that's just his build. That's just his genetics. He's like me. That's just how it is. And he is healthy, and I'm so grateful. When I talked to his doctor every single checkup, I would talk to him about the spitting up, and he just diagnosed him as a happy spitter. I even got to the point where I begged for like Prilosec or something, or whatever they give babies for reflux, but he wouldn't give it to me. And I was very frustrated because I wanted him to stop spitting up. I wanted him to keep that nourishment inside of him. And he said, well, even though slowly, he is gaining weight, and he's not bothered by the spitting up. It's obviously not painful, so I'm not going to give you meds. And now I appreciate that. But at the time, I was just ready for him to keep that food inside of him. That food that I worked so hard to get inside of him, I wanted it to stay put. And the doctor said, you know what? Let's see around 8-9 months when he's sitting up on his own consistently. Let's see how that helps. Thinking, you know, the muscle tone in this area would be better and maybe keep the food down. And what he said was true. Around 8.5 months, he just stopped spitting up completely. Even when I burped him, he quit spitting up. And so that's what happened. To this day, he has an extremely sensitive gag reflex. Like when he goes to the dentist, the hygienist, I always warn her that he has a really sensitive gag reflex. So she has to work very hard and slowly to make sure he doesn't throw up. And throwing up is my... maybe there's like a legit phobia around throwing up, but I have it. And I just think that's interesting that God gave me a child who throws up easily. He doesn't get sick like stomach bugs and stuff, but like if he coughs too hard, there's a crumb in his throat. He just, bleh, you know, he throws up everything. He's just very sensitive to that. So I always thought I would go, you know, I had all these breastfeeding goals, 6 months, 9 months, 12 months. And I figured after 12 months, we would just kind of reevaluate then. When it got to be 12 months, he was so happy nursing, and I introduced whole milk just because I thought I was supposed to do that at 1 year. And the pediatrician said, hey, if he's drinking breast milk, why give him anything else? So I just didn't worry about it. He got water like in a sippy cup or in a bottle, like a water bottle type of thing. And yeah, that was fine. And so I just kept nursing him. He was happy. I was happy. It just worked really well for us. And I thought, you know, do people actually nurse toddlers? And I was in the nursing room at our church. We had a really nice nursing room set up with gliders and a TV so that we could watch the church service happening while we were in there feeding our babies. And there was a lady in there with a 21-month-old toddler nursing. And here I am and all my other friends in there with like little babies or even older, some older babies, but still babies. And you see this big kid seem like, I mean, comparatively, get up in her lap, nurse, and then sit up and have a baggie of goldfish or whatever little snack he had. And then he would play a little bit, and then he'd get back up there and nurse some more. And I remember talking to her, and we're still friends now. I remember talking to her and just being so fascinated. She, in a way, I felt like meeting her helped me feel okay, I guess, about nursing past a year and into the toddler phase. And I thought, well, you know, this does happen. It's working really well for them. Why stop? So when Caleb, I'm trying to remember how many months old he was maybe like 16 months or so, I don't remember, when we conceived Brayden. And I figured, well, I'm just gonna keep nursing. Again, why stop? It's not bothering me. At a point, it did wear me out just because that early pregnancy is exhausting on its own. And then when you are nursing, even though it was just a few times a day, when you're nursing a toddler and chasing a toddler, it's just a whole other form of exhaustion. And so Caleb weaned at about 20 or 21 months. It's hard for me to remember exactly when, because it was such a blur of me being nauseous and chasing a toddler and, you know, being pregnant and everything. And so I don't exactly remember, but I think he weaned around 20, 21 months, which was about halfway through my pregnancy with Braden. Now, fast forward to when I was pregnant with Braden, I want to say I was around 35, 36 weeks. I had a friend who had just had twins, and I decided I was going to make her some lactation cookies. And so, of course, while I am baking cookies, I am eating them. And that night I went to take a shower, and here I had, you know, officially weaned Caleb a few months before that. Even though, even after you wean, there can still be milk left. And that night I was getting in the shower and I felt kind of full up here, and I thought, I haven't felt that in a really long time. So on one side I just kind of hand expressed to see if anything would come out, and sure enough, colostrum. I did freak out a little bit, even though I know sometimes you produce colostrum before baby comes. I called the lactation consultant just to make sure, and she said that that was totally fine. And I asked her, should I pump? And she said, maybe don't start pumping until after 37, 38 weeks, just because that could bring on labor. And I didn't want that quite yet. Well, Braden came at 38 weeks and 2 days, and I'm going to be posting his birth story, so I won't give away too much, but I will be posting his birth story in September when he turns 4, so stay tuned for that. After that goes up, I will link it down below, so you got to wait till middle of September to get that video. But I had a repeat C-section with him. I was able to be awake. There's a spoiler alert. After about 45 minutes, when I got into my room afterwards, I put him on the breast to nurse because he was actually sucking his 2 middle fingers. So I figured, I asked, can I try nursing him? And I wasn't even sitting up all the way at this point. And I put him on the breast and he ate like that. 0 problems. I think part of it was that my milk came in like immediately. That first time he sucked, there was colostrum there ready for him. And I attribute that partially to me nursing so long with Caleb, and also weaning so close to the time that I gave birth to Braden. So the milk was already there. He nursed perfectly from day 1. The lactation consultants came in to check on me, and I didn't need any help. We were just in there to socialize. It was the same ladies who had helped me with Caleb. And so that was really great. I was so encouraged with, I had kind of a rough recovery. I'll have to share that in my birth story, but I had a tough recovery after Braden's C-section, and the fact that nursing was going well was a really, really, really good thing. It was just one thing that I didn't have to worry about. He gained weight tremendously. He is also just, in general, he's just a beefier kid. He's never had problems gaining weight. I would say he's average, but especially compared to Caleb, he's a lot beefier. And again, like I said, he's very serious about his food. The only issue that I had with him was that I was using, with Caleb, I used those disposable breast pads from Lancino, and I hated the idea of using another disposable product. I mean, I was using mama cloth and cloth diapers. It's like, come on, I need to use something that is cloth inside my bras. And so I found the Bamboobies. They're those heart-shaped bamboo nursing pads. And I used those, and I know a lot of people love them. I did not. They did not lay well in my bra. They slipped around a lot. They also, now I could have fixed this. I could have sewn like a layer of fleece on top, but they did not soak in the breast milk to the inside of the pad as well as disposables did. So that breast milk was always right up against my skin all day, every day. And I got so irritated. Like I was breaking out all around my nipples. So when Braden would eat, it was awful. It didn't matter what cream I used or whatever it was. I tried a lot of things and it was excruciating. And I figured, okay, maybe it's the pads. So I switched back to the disposable Lancino ones, went away like that. Braden got his first tooth at just shy of 12 weeks. So that's under 3 months old when he got his first tooth. I could not even believe it. I was not expecting it. He was not displaying any teething symptoms. And so he did bite me, and that was a little bit tougher to break. When Braden started to do that, there's not really any discipline that you can do with a 3-month-old. And so what I did, I just had to keep my finger right there at my nipple. And in case I saw his jaw move to a different position than latching, I would have to stick my finger in there and break the suction before he bit me. And that went on for about 2 to 3 weeks, and he never bit me again. So my nursing relationship with both of my boys has been really good. Caleb went for about 21 months, and I can't even believe it, but Braden will be 4 in September, and he still nurses. I know a lot of moms, want their body back, and they're tired of being touched all the time. Braden is my last baby, and to be honest, I think if he decides he wants to stop nursing, I'm okay with it. I really am. But deep down, I'm gonna be devastated because little kids run around all the time. Braden is extremely active. So when he sits down to nurse, it's just a few minutes of peace that I get with him. And he's so incredibly sweet when he nurses. And he really just nurses sometimes first thing in the morning, depending on how early that is, and before his nap and before bed. So max 3 times a day, sometimes 0 times a day, depending on who is putting him down. If I put him down for a nap or bed, he will always nurse, and I don't ask if he wants milk. He nurses more when we are like on vacations or when we are out in a place where he is uncomfortable or scared. He'll say, I want milk, I want milk. We don't have any cute names for it. He just wants his milk. I never thought that I would be nursing like a preschooler. And this is all new to me. I'm not even sure how I feel about nursing an older child like that. But I guess we'll see. I thought about filming this video several months ago, but I thought, no, I'll just film it when I am done nursing. I figured we'll just do that. It'll be kind of like a wrap it up type of video. But I don't know how this story ends. I don't know if, I'm on vacation right now. I don't know if I'll return and he'll be done with milk, or we may go for another 6 months or a year. I have no idea. As much as I, want my body back, as much as I grow tired of the constant touching, I do know that this time is so very short and I will never get it back. So I definitely want to enjoy it while I can. They say the days are long and the years are short. I think that is so accurate. So if you are a mom out there struggling with breastfeeding, I would tell you, keep it up. Find some help. Find a lactation consultant who can help you out. Find a friend, find a support group that you can go to. There are friends that I met in support group 6 years ago when I had my first baby, and we're still friends today. There are people out there to help you with this kind of stuff. Find a La Leche League, something like that. Join. I say that this is a recommendation I kind of half-heartedly get, but find a breastfeeding moms group on Facebook. I know moms groups can be a little woo, off the wall crazy drama sometimes, but you can find a good one and get some support there from other moms who have done this probably a lot more times than you have. So I hope that you enjoyed this video today. Whenever Brayden weans, maybe I'll do a video then just to show you, you know, how it ended, just to kind of give you part 2 of this, I guess. And of course, happy World Breastfeeding Week. If you are new to my channel, click right over here so you can subscribe and see all of the videos that I put up. You can also click over here for some related videos that I think you might enjoy as well. I hope you're having a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time. Bye.